Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm on today with Kate Fahr again, and we're going to be talking about stuff and things. So, how you doing?
Oh, I've definitely been worse. Today's been mildly frustrating dealing with some people who don't understand the arguments they themselves are making. But otherwise, yeah, I'm okay. How about you?
Doing all right. Mowed the lawn. Now I'm here.
Hmm.
Not a very busy day. Uh, no work today. So, yay! Good
Yay.
times. Uh, so you wanted to talk about your channel, and you were telling me a little bit. Oh, I did it. I did it there. I tapped the thingy. You're telling me a little bit about it earlier. So tell us, what are you doing on your channel currently?
Well, I have a new video coming out today at 4 p.m. Pacific time. You can do the math on that one, however you like. And it's basically dealing with this, what do they call themselves? World Video Bible School. And it's about their argument for free will versus determinism. And I myself am a bit of a determinist. I see no evidence whatsoever for free will. I think it's an illusion, but I know a lot of people, even atheists, disagree with me on that. So if you're interested in the topic, go ahead and watch that video. I've also seen a video on that same channel called Six Proofs for God's Existence, and I may be responding to that soon because, wow, the guy's being a chowderhead. Just the first argument has made me go, ah, duh. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I'm working on right now.
Well, that's great. May or may not. We'll never know. Or maybe
Well,
we
we'll
will know
see.
very soon. Yeah, those videos are always uh kind of funny. I remember PragerU did a famous one at least a year ago where they had some guy who was like, "Here's some things we don't know." So God. Like, yep, sounds about right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was telling you before the show started that the Six Proofs for God's Existence video, the very first argument is about the universe coming from nothing. And the guy completely misunderstands Lawrence Krauss's argument for a universe from nothing. And I'm just like, oh boy. I mean, I'm not like a particle physicist or a quantum physicist or anything like that, but even I can tell that what Lawrence Krauss said and what this guy thinks he said, not even close.
Yeah, creationists have a habitual problem with misunderstanding Big Bang research and even with pre-Big Bang research.
Or they'll
Uh,
just outright quote mine.
oh yeah, the Hawking's quotes is Matt Powell and company love to do, uh, and also Lawrence Krauss. He's, hey, look, YouTube just told me I'm live. That's great. Thanks. uh,
Well,
you're on
and,
time for once.
and don't get me started on Matt Powell. My goodness. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just on my channel posted a segment where I challenged him to say right to my face that I should die for being queer. And he wouldn't do it. He refused. Right. But his position is that homosexuals should be executed. Oh, not just executed by the state, but that we're all pedophiles as well. That every
Hmm.
homosexual is a pedophile. And I'm just like, wow. Now, he claims in a comment on that video that he refused to weigh in because of YouTube's guidelines, YouTube's standards, that he thought, oh, this will get flagged. Of course, it wasn't on his channel, so why would he give a rat's hindquarters? But still, he would not say it. And I've put a direct challenge out to him saying, look, if you want to say this, like on my channel, go like I want you to say it in public. I will host the video. And he has not responded. So one thing I actually am thinking very seriously about organizing is to get as many LGBT YouTubers as possible to send me clips of video, short clips, just saying, Matt Powell, tell me I should die for being LGBT, or tell me I should die for being queer. Tell me I should be executed. If you want to do that, contact me on Twitter, direct message me on Twitter.
Yeah. It really, it's, I think it's very funny because his rhetoric is, yes, they should be executed. Oh, no, not by me. Someone else should have to
Ooh.
do it. It's like, ah. So you're gonna go out and round up these people who will do it, but you yourself won't do it. Intriguing.
And he foists responsibility off on the state. Like, this is my idea. This is what I think should happen. But no, I'm not going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. We should send all these people to war. We should go to war. Oh, no, not me. No, I'm not going to
Right.
war. You send these other people off to war.
Yeah.
Fun times. Fun times. I've been in recent email communication with him because he, of course, came out with his I say movie. There was someone, I think Vice Rhino called it it's like a cinematic pamphlet or something like that.
Something like that. He's got a series. I admit I haven't been watching it because the movie itself is so painful. But he took the title of the movie and sort of reworked it to be more what it was about as his titles. So
yeah, I've been in email contact with him because he made a lot of claims about evolution as well as atheists, and I said, we can go on someone else's channel, on a channel you think will be neutral, and I would love to rake you over the coals. I mean, discuss with you all these claims that you make about evolution. And he said, well, I just want to discuss atheism. It's like, I'm not interested in that question. If you are going to make a video and put it out there where you say, where you make all these claims about evolution, then you say, oh, well, I don't really care about evolution. Why'd you do it in the first place?
yeah. And I hate to say his I'll call it an interview with the Raging Atheist.
Yeah.
There were so many times where I was just like, no, don't respond like that. That is not the right response to that assertion. I kind of wish I'd been there. Now, granted, some people are going to say that sounds like arrogance on my part, but seriously, there were so many times where I'm like, there's such a good answer to that, and that's not it. So,
well, I think it's, I mean, yeah, and I think to some extent Matt just kind of asks him a smattering of questions, of just these random questions, and in some cases, Raging Atheist answers weren't great. In some cases, I think there was definitely dishonest editing involved because Matt has a very long track record of doing that. He did it with the talk I was in with him.
You wouldn't think that to make his point, he would have to dishonestly edit. But then again, I've been watching a video series where what's his name? Greg Kokel has been laying out ways that theists should argue for their point. And his whole thing is maintain conversational control. Keep yourself out of the hot seat so that your ideas cannot be challenged. That's his whole advice for how theists should talk to atheists, how theists should have those conversations. And he says if you lose control, then what you do is say, I have to do my research, I'll get back to you, and then never get back. Right? That's his whole thing. And I'm like, how do you not see how dishonest that is? And also, to be fair to the Raging Atheist, I mean, I've been in the moment where I don't have that time to think and formulate my proper response. So I can't really blame him. I mean, I was just like in a debate, I think it was 2 nights ago, with this guy, the distributist or whatever. And there were times where he was either trying to gish gallop me or he was going off on wild tangents. And when I would try to give a reply, I couldn't quite phrase it properly. And a lot of people in the comments have lambasted me for the way I've said things, and then basically strawmanned my point, which I can't blame them for because I did express myself badly. But still, like I say, I can't necessarily blame the Raging Atheist if he wasn't like right there in the moment. So, don't take that as a kick against you if you're watching.
I feel in my first, one of the first interviews I did on my channel was with Kent Hovind. I don't think I did too well in that because I wasn't familiar at the time with either his arguments or creationist literature. And so since then, I've done loads and loads of research, reading both creationist and evolution stuff. And so when I had my debate with him, he couldn't respond to anything I said. Except, I mean, he made like one of the few arguments he tried to make was that mammoths weren't polar animals. Which, yeah.
I
Watch my
mean,
video.
wow.
Series number
Okay,
9.
well, yeah.
Yep. Fun times.
So, and in addition, I mean, you asked me what else I'm doing on my channel.
Yep.
I do have a gigantic animation project in the works that has nothing to do with atheism. It's sci-fi, but I am eventually going to put out a casting call for speaking parts. So if anyone out there thinks that you can act, and I mean really act, not just I want to be in this because yay, it sounds like fun. I mean, if you actually have acting chops, when I put that casting call out there, just think about it.
There you go. That should be interesting. I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, so now time for controversy. No. Just kidding. Um,
Yeah.
so let's see. We actually saw each other in person fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
How was that? Was I taller or shorter than you'd imagined?
You know, I'm gonna go with taller.
Hmm.
And that is one thing about like seeing someone in video where you really only see them from like the shoulders up or whatever.
Mhm.
I've gotten the idea that some people are a certain height and then I meet them in person and I am so off. You have no idea. And a lot of people don't realize how tall I am. I'm built like Xena, you know, and
You're
I've had a
pretty
lot of
tall, yeah.
people think I'm at least 3 inches shorter than I really am. And if you've ever watched Christina Rad, Oh My God, It's Chris, although I always look at her name and think Zomgets, she is minuscule.
She
But
is very short. Yeah.
looking at her in her videos, I'm picturing this like tall blonde goddess, right? Because she looks gigantic. Well, not gigantic. She looks tall in her
Maybe
videos.
yeah.
And I don't know, but I think it's just camera. It was the same thing the time I met Jacqueline Glenn. I thought she was a lot taller than she is.
She's short.
Oh my gosh, you have no idea.
Oh my goodness, I would never have. I really do think she would be like maybe at least my height. I think that's
Yeah.
fun.
And then but there are other people who were definitely taller than I ever would have thought. And you get to see the faces of people who don't show their faces in their videos,
Yeah.
and they might not be what you suspect from their voice. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember if anyone's familiar with Safety Dance by Men Without Hats, for the longest time I had this mental image of the guy singing that, and when I finally saw him, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Well, it's the same thing with YouTubers. Like
Mhm.
getting to see Prophet of Zod's face, I was like, "What are you kidding me? There's no way that's you." So yeah, but it's true. You I don't know. I mean, we all form mental pictures of people based on their voices, and gosh, can we ever be wrong?
Yeah. The only person I expected to be humongous was Aaron, because he
Well,
went because I've seen him do the videos where he like goes up to protesters and talks, and he's a head taller than everybody else there. I mean, just so tall.
well, I mean, that's the thing. Okay, because you were at Faithless Forum, there was one part of one of the panels where they were just asking members of the audience, random members of the audience, to come up and ask, or
Yeah.
rather to answer some rather silly questions. And they knew they were silly. They were intended to be silly, right? And one of the questions that I wish I'd gotten to answer was something like, without using the words like scary, biker,
Demonic.
metal,
Yeah.
how do you describe R and Raw? And I was like, oh, I want that question so bad because I know the perfect answer is if Genghis Khan and a Klingon had a bastard love child. Am I wrong? That's
Oh.
R and Raw.
I'm not going to confirm or deny.
Oh, come on. But the thing is, I mean, looking at him, yeah, he looks kind of scary, but he is such a nice guy. He's a
Oh,
total sweetheart.
absolutely.
He's a teddy bear. Aaron Ra's the best. He really is.
Yeah, yeah. We got our Savannah and I got to talk to him and Lilandra, and that was awesome. Really enjoyed that. I really just enjoyed meeting everyone. This was the first. I think you talked about you'd been to like the
American Atheists
American
and
Atheist. Yeah,
Skepticon.
yeah. I've never been to any of those sorts of things. I'm in Shreveport. I was in Baton Rouge for 2 years. I just never met anyone. I've just been in my state the whole time. Well, that's not true. I met Mel. Savannah and I met Scientist Mel in New Orleans, and we did a stream from a restaurant there, which was awesome. But that's it. That's the only person from the interwebs that I've met. And so to meet everybody when we when I got the Faithless Forum was just amazing. These are like real people.
There were definitely a couple of people who weren't there that I wish had been. Like I would have loved to have gotten to meet Vice Rhino. And there's some people who are in Austin that I met when American Atheist was there, who I'm surprised weren't there. I mean, I think it's like a 3-hour drive. I don't know.
I think so. Yeah.
But honestly, there are a couple of people I haven't seen since that American Atheist, which was what, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that, that I really wished I could have seen again. You know, people I at least count as friends, but they weren't there, and it's a shame.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it? When we first walked in, like I was looking around, I was like, "Oh my God, there's Matt Dillahunty, there's Kyle Curtis and Shannon and Paul," and I was looking around, and I was like, "Come on, Savannah!" Or Savannah was pushing me. She's like, "We gotta go find a seat," and I was like, "Okay, all right." And so we kind of walk over, and I look down at Seth Andrews sitting on the end. I'm like, "Excuse me, sir, can we get past you?" And we sit down. I'm like, "Savannah, that's Seth Andrews."
But he's another one who's a really great guy. I mean, the times I've chatted with him, and he's just so much fun to talk to, and he's very personable. And I mean, that's the thing. It is so easy to think of other YouTubers, or if you're not a YouTuber, just to look at anyone who makes these videos and think, ooh, celebrity. And I keep trying to explain to people, look, I mean, for me at least, there's a total disconnect between like the audience and myself, because I'm just sitting at a desk with a camera talking to a microphone, and it's not like I'm up on stage with a guitar. It's not like I'm going to Hollywood premieres. So to be treated like a celebrity is strange, and I keep trying to tell people not to do it. You know, that the way I say it is, look, we're just folks. We're just like you. Seriously, I don't want to be on your pedestal. I just want you to treat me like someone who could potentially be your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then people accuse me of not being humble.
Yeah, I know how you feel. Yeah, I'm the same way. Just got, microphone and sitting at my desk recording stuff, and I just put things together. And so it was strange. It was meeting people who watch my videos. Because here, I don't meet people on the street who watch my videos, but going to that, they were like, "Well, hello, nice to meet you. I watch your videos." I was like, "You watch my videos? What?"
Well, and it's kind of strange being recognized on the street too, which has happened to me twice in the last couple of weeks. Like I was actually at the grocery store, and one of the guys who works there was like pushing the carts. He goes, wait a minute. I know you." And I was like, "You do?" He's like, "Yeah, you're Bionic Dance, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, hi, how are you?" And I always like to ask people what their username is. Because like, if I see them in the comments, I want to make that connection of that's who that was that I saw in Meat Space, And then I was also at Target with my dad, because my dad was visiting like a little while ago, and like some guy who was like, I think he was just in line at Target, was like, wait a minute, I know you from YouTube. Like I recognize the hair first, and I'm like, oh shit, I hate my hair. But and then he's like, and then I saw your face. I'm like, you're Bionic Dance, aren't you? I was like, yeah, totally. I'm just standing there with my dad. As far as I was concerned, I was just out for a little bit of shopping. But yeah, it was. It's still a little odd. It's hard to get used to. It really is.
Interesting. Yeah, talking to people who, like, I try to get, when I meet people in Meat Space here in Shreveport, and I tell them about evolution and whatnot. I'm like, oh, by the way, I run a YouTube channel where I also talk about this sort of stuff. And they're like, oh, cool, I'll check it out. And then they may or may not. But
well, I mean, I don't know if you do it. I actually have business cards.
No, I don't have business cards.
My YouTube channel. I mean, maybe that's a little bit arrogant, but I do help staff a booth in Balboa Park in San Diego. And every now and then I figure, what the hell, let's self-advertise a little. If I have a chat with somebody, I'm like, do you watch YouTube? And hand them my card. I don't know if that's ever done me any good, but nothing ventured, right?
Yeah, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
And I hate that, honestly. I mean, because networking is not easy. It's really not.
Yeah,
And I mean, some people are better at it than others, but there is
definitely
a
not Tony Reed if you're listening.
but there is a Facebook group for YouTube atheist creators, and some people like Telltale have been super helpful. Like, there's a couple of things I didn't know that really help you. For example, scheduling your videos at the same, like for release at the same time
Oh,
every time, apparently makes the algorithm notice you. And Telltale told me that, and it's true. Because I like, when I go looking for a video to respond to, I'll often type in the tagline, like a couple of, religion, Christianity, Islam, whatever, and also atheism and atheist. And on the search results page for atheist, I'm actually on the front page a couple of times, and that started when I started scheduling my videos at the same time every time I release them. So that was an amazing hint. I could not thank him enough for that. So again, and I mean, that's the thing, being a YouTube creator, there is a community there. There's
mhm.
definitely a certain amount of let's work together and make all this stuff happen. Sometimes
Before we
it's
shoot each other.
yeah.
But
So I mean, it's really, it's been a great experience
yeah.
with some of those folks. Oh, also,
Uh-oh.
I'm friends with Thomas Westbrook, Holy Kool-Aid on
Mhm.
Facebook. And recently he changed his Facebook status to in a relationship. They didn't say with whom.
Oh.
And the funny thing is that I'd always, for some reason, got the impression that he and his roommate Eric were an item. Right? For some reason, I always thought that. And when it turned out that no, he's straight and in a relationship with a chick, I was like, oh, oops. Oh, well. But I thought they made a really cute couple, like him and Eric. I thought they would have been the best together, but apparently I'm wrong.
Yeah. That is pretty funny. I do think I remember that everyone was like a genetically modified skeptic was like, I'm glad we finally told everyone or something like that.
Mm.
All razzing him for it. Yeah. Uh, yeah, there's definitely a community, and I've uh, gotten some pointers from other people, like a Godless Engineer. Definitely gave me some pointers, some of which I was doing, but didn't. Some I have definitely stuck with me. For instance, putting lots of tags on the video that definitely stuck with me. I because like while it's uploading or whatever, I'll go back through the script and I'll put in like most of the nouns,
Mm. Well,
most taxa or whatever.
I mean, one thing that I've been told, and I don't know how true it is that tags matter a lot less than your description. In fact, you should put the title of your video in your description, because for some reason that helps the search engine decide, oh yeah, I should make people see this. It's strange to me, but apparently that's how YouTube works. I do not understand YouTube screening like parameters,
Yep.
because I've been having videos demonetized a lot lately, or at least limited or no ads on this video. And some of the things they accept and some of the things they won't are so bizarre. Like, I've had videos demonetized specifically because the word lesbian was in the tags, which I've actually contacted some like equal rights groups about, and they might be willing to make a stink. Again, if you're LGBT and you're seeing this happen to your videos, contact me on Twitter and we'll see if we can get something grassroots going. So there's that. And yet they accepted a video with the title Die, Jesus, Die.
Yep.
I mean, it was about the crucifixion, but the point being that why was that acceptable, but lesbian isn't?
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of reminds me of the whole the adpocalypse that went on a few years back, where like
Um,
atheist became not acceptable, which is very bizarre. Or if you're not a news channel, you can't talk about politics or controversial issues, things like that. Which I guess I think they did, which was supposed to help the big corporations because they need more help for some reason than the little people talking about these sorts of things. But I don't
Well,
know.
it would be really nice if when a video is demonetized like that, if YouTube would give you a timestamp or tag the word in the description they didn't
Sure,
like
sure.
or something, just so you could say, oh, I get it now, and modify what you're doing.
Hmm.
Because I mean, if like as I understand it, they want to make YouTube more family friendly, whatever the frell that means. And I would very much like to know, like, I mean, if it turns out that there's nothing I can do just because the subject itself is controversial and it would like basically hamstring my videos that I couldn't talk about what I want to talk about, I'd like to know that too, just so I can quit worrying. But if there is something I can fix without compromising the message, YouTube, tell me what it is.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
definitely. I have videos get I've had some of my older videos once they reached 1,000 views got demonetized. No idea why. I'm not like a not a consistent YouTuber or anything like that. I'm not relying on YouTube for money, so this isn't really from my position. It's not really a worry or anything like that. But I I noticed it because I get a little bit of money from YouTube, but I noticed that like as soon as it reached 1,000 views, it became demonetized. There's a video on embryology. What in the heck was I talking about that got it demonetized? And then
well, and that's just weird that
I
it was
challenged it and
after
they let it go.
like
So
after 1,000 views is weird. My stuff's getting auto demonetized. My last like dozen videos almost instantly upon upload, even before it's like got one view, demonetized right the hell
geez,
away. I'm like, have I just become persona non grata to YouTube? What's going on here?
that's very
Oh,
strange.
kitty.
Yes, he always comes up here for the talks.
Mm.
There he is.
Oh, adorable. What's his name?
This is Enzo. He also usually shows up in RJ's chats because he likes to be up here when I'm doing talks. I don't think he was in my lap for my debates though.
Mm.
But oh well. Other than that, he's usually in here for talks. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's like someone flagged it or something, and so they demonetized it or what. But I challenged it immediately, and they were like, "Oh, it's good." It's like then
Mm.
what the heck in the first place got it demonetized?
It would be so nice if they could tell us or
Yep.
would tell us. Maybe they can. And I also want to know, like, when they like review it manually, when you challenge it, is it just up to one person or what? I mean, is it possible that just based on the personal taste of whoever did the screening, that's why it may or may not be remonetized? I don't get it. And I really wish I could just talk to someone from YouTube and find out. Oh, well. Oh, well.
The or the comment section was going crazy about only seeing about not seeing Enzo. So there you go, folks.
You
He's
know,
there.
I should probably be looking at the comment section. I don't know. I mean, sometimes it's better not to just because it can be distracting, but I'm really curious.
Oh, we got a couple people. I'm gonna put it back on you. A
I
couple
mean,
people saying hello. So hello everyone. How are you guys doing?
hello.
I do you ever do debates?
I did a debate recently and I kind of wish I hadn't. Just because, well, I mean, like I said earlier, that sometimes when you're in the moment, you don't express yourself well, and I think I really would have done much better in that debate if it had been like, here's your video, here's my video response, here's your video response, here's my video response, because then you can do your research, you can
Mhm.
look things up, you can make sure that you're getting it right. You know, I mean, there are definitely some things I said where he cut me off in the middle of it. And there's definitely some things I said where I was like, wow, that was the worst way to say that. And the way it's being taken is not what I meant. I mean, that happened a lot. So I prefer to not do live debates.
Yeah. I understand that. I'm really not a fan of debates just because I think it's a poor way of disseminating information. Uh,
Mm.
I think I've talked to people before about how we don't need, there doesn't have to be a panel for everything on the, I think that was on RJ's show. It's like every time something pops up in the news, we're going to have a panel discuss the relevance of this. No, you don't need the panel. You need someone putting out the facts, and that's it. I mean, sure, sometimes you can have, if you have a controversial issue, you can have some people sit down and discuss it for a little while, but that doesn't need to be every single segment of every single show. And it's just so freaking annoying because who gives a crap about their opinions?
Mm. Well,
Uh,
and that's another thing is I've seen someone, and maybe it was said at Faithless Forum, I'm not sure, but I've seen it said many times, is that sometimes someone can be completely right and still lose the debate just
yes,
because of how they express themselves or whether the audience thought they were shrill or whatever it is. Like they could have 100% all of the facts and it doesn't matter.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's people who, when I see debates, for instance, between like an actual scientist and a creationist, like Kent Hovind or someone like that, usually the scientist does pretty crappily because they're like, oh, well, clearly we have this sorts of this, we have this data here which indicates this conclusion. Then there's this. They're very dry. Kent Hovind, meanwhile, is like, he's running around, he's throwing out all sorts of claims. They're doing this very quickly, and so like you said, even if they're right, they might not do very well because they're not familiar with either his claims or really what the creationist arguments are, things like that, what their beliefs are.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that happened in the debate that I just had. Was what was the guy's name? The distributist. I went onto his channel and went looking for a video on the topic we were going to be debating and could not find anything. So I had no chance to do any research to find out what I might be up against. Meanwhile, my channel is about nothing but what my position was going to be. And even then, he didn't seem to understand it. So I don't know if he went looking at my videos at all. So I don't know. But I think the worst one, or at least for me, the one who's most painful to watch, has to be Billy Craig. Okay, William Lane Craig he's so smarmy, and I just want to hurt him. I want him to be sad, and I want to know I'm responsible.
But the cosmological argument is the best argument for the existence of God.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I'm going to be dealing with in that video that I'm going to be responding to next. Not the one that's scheduled, but the one I was talking about, the 6 proofs for God, is that he comes out with the whole something out of nothing argument. The whole like, well, you can't get something from nothing. Now, I actually learned a lot in researching for this video, watching Lawrence Krauss and finding out how something could literally come from nothing without a God's help. And I think that's pretty wild and amazing. And it breaks my brain. It's one of those things where common sense says this has to be bullshit, but the numbers are on his side. The science is on his side. And I'm like, that is really interesting. And I'm actually glad to have done this research. So
Yeah, I think I've had the puddle analogy drilled into my head so many times. That's the only thing I can think of when people bring up the the teleological argument, things like that.
well, and that's another problem for me is that because of the whole brain surgery thing and the fact that my memory from the seizures has gone to crap, I can never remember the names of these things. Like if someone were to say the teleological argument, I'm like, wait, which the hell one is that? But if someone describes it, I'm like, oh yeah, that one. And it's the same thing with logical fallacies, especially when they're in Latin. I'm like, I know that fallacy, but which the hell one is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I yeah, and there are like different subcategories of fallacies. Like at the Faithless Forum, they talked about one of them was, I thought it was cherry picking. They were like, they had Matt Dillahunty and a few other people. They're like, name that fallacy, and it wasn't cherry picking, or at least I think it was a subset of it. It was called like the Texas sharpshooter, and I was
Mm.
like, that just sounded like cherry picking to me. But you're right, it's like fallacies within fallacies. I really don't know all the fallacies because I don't do those sorts of I don't do philosophic arguments, and so I'm not really familiar with those sorts of fallacies. I'm more like, no, here's all this data that indicates why you're wrong. Why won't you look at it?
Mm. Yeah,
uh,
and that is a problem with a lot of people, is where the data, they just don't care. You know, it doesn't matter to them. They have either their presuppositions or what is comfortable for them, and screw the
sure,
data.
sure, yeah, that is exactly how I felt while watching Matt Powell's farce. Uh,
Mm.
the I he taught me something with that video. Honestly, if he ever hears this, you actually taught me something. I honestly never thought anyone was so ignorant of paleontology that they thought the meteor that killed the dinosaurs decapitated them. Honestly, that thought never occurred to me. I would never think anyone would think that.
Yeah.
I I, I honestly didn't know someone could be that ignorant. Oh,
So I can't believe that someone's actually asking where my couch is. Eric Mishima, I don't know how you want that pronounced. Is it
where's your couch?
Japanese? I don't know. Is asking where's my couch. I actually got rid of my couch specifically to make more room for virtual reality gameplay. So
Oh,
I'm not sure that Columbia, my cat, has gotten used to there being no couch anymore. I think she was almost insulted by it. It certainly confused her. But yeah, virtual reality gameplay, that's why the couch is gone. Because I kept rapping my knuckles up against bookshelves. Playing some of the more active games, and I needed that to stop. And VR is my main source of exercise while the weather is shitty. So yeah. Also, if there's anyone out there who feels the need to lose weight, I recommend both Spark and Beat Saber, right? Because those, unless my smartwatch lies to me, an hour of those will get rid of 1,000 calories. So seriously, give that a try. And after the brain surgery, my doctor said don't exercise in any vigorous manner for 6 months. I got to get my girlish figure back, damn it. So yeah,
huh. That's pretty interesting. Have you ever played Skyrim?
I have. I haven't
Have you
played
ever
it in
thought about
VR
more
though.
Skyrim? No.
The problem with games like that, with like first person games, like with an open world in VR, is that unless you have some sort of treadmill, the best you can do is like that funky teleport function, and that's never good. Like if you have to get away from an enemy right the heck now, that's really hard to do. So I until there's an affordable omnidirectional treadmill, I don't think I'll be playing that. Although the one I want to play the most is Fallout 4 VR. I have gotten so into Fallout. I have like the entire, well, not the entire, a lot of the collection of the Pip Boy bobbleheads, and I also have a bottle of Nuka Cola Quantum sitting up on my shelf. And yeah, I also have the like a Vault Dweller hoodie. I love Fallout 4. It's so much fun. And before anyone asks, no, I haven't played 76. And until I've finished 4, I'm not going to play New Vegas either. So, and I spent a lot of time in Fallout 4 just leveling the heck up. I'm almost level 60 right now. And now I'm starting to follow the storyline. So, yeah.
Oh, I've I've not played Fallout. I have played a lot of Skyrim though, and also I think Far Cry would probably be fun. But
Which
although I'm
one? What
constantly
was the
running from
second bit?
Far Cry.
Oh, okay. That is so not what I heard. Go on.
Alrighty. Um, although I'm constantly running from uh like saber-toothed cats and mountain lions and other sorts of things in Far Cry Primal. So yeah, probably wouldn't be great for that. You're right. What we need one of those treadmills like they had in Ready Player One.
Mm. Well, I mean, they have some, but they're not super affordable and they don't work really well. And so I'm waiting, but I really hope we get those. before I'm old and decrepit would be very nice. Thank you very much indeed. So, yeah. I mean, because I remember back in the 90s, everyone thought, ooh, VR is coming, VR is coming. And then The Lawnmower Man came out, and wow, that was a terrible movie. But so everyone was expecting virtual reality to be a thing. And then it never really showed up until like decades later. So if treadmills are not on their way, I'm going to be grouchy.
Right. Oh, they're coming for you.
Mm.
I heard
I'm still waiting
I
for
heard some
flying
sirens in the
cars.
background. I think they exist. They're just not economical.
Well, I mean,
I
when I
it's like
was
you have
little,
to
I was
charge them
promised that
for.
by the year 2000 we'd be living like the Jetsons, and it's not here yet, and I'm really disappointed.
Now we're going
Mm.
backwards. So, but anyways,
Well, it's funny. I was actually
yeah,
watching an
I don't know.
episode of How I Met Your Mother the other day, and like they did this flash forward that took place in 2021, and they were saying, "Well, we have hologram phones now," and I was like, "Oh, we're not even close to that."
Yeah, yeah, that would. They're too busy making the iPhone larger and then smaller again to worry about any of that.
Mm.
But,
Oh, and I
but,
do not buy Apple products. Screw the iPhone.
oh,
Android all the way.
hurt by this. Um, but let's see what else has been going on. Uh, do you have any other upcoming projects?
Not really, no. I mean, aside from the animation I was talking about, I fly kind of by the seat of my pants when it comes to which video to respond to. Like I say, I'll do choice, like searches for videos about atheism, videos about religion, that kind of thing. And if I don't find anything in that search, I'll go to videos I've already created. And I always put links to the video to which I'm responding just for the sake of honesty, of integrity. Below that, I will put a link to the video page of what they've done. And a lot of times, stuff they've done will not show up in the search. And so I find something new just by looking at someone I've already responded to. And so if there's nothing out there that's worthy of a response, I might not put out a video for a while, actually, just because nobody's producing anything. So don't expect a regular schedule from me, except for the 4 o'clock Pacific time. That's when a video will be released, if anything.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I don't have regular scheduling either. I actually have a long list of videos that I intend to make across various subjects in biology and regarding creationism. And so I'll be like into one, and then I'll see a terrible video, and then I'll be like, oh nope, gotta respond to this. uh, I did that with like Beyond Science. I was like, no conspiracies.
Hmm. Well, okay, what Eric just said, like, don't worry too much about reacting to the same videos as others. And yeah, I mean, I get that. It's just sometimes some part of my brain thinks it's rude, like pwn jacking someone else's video just feels like I mean, okay, I've been doing YouTube videos for 11ish years, right? More than a decade. And people have sometimes given me a double wide buttload of crap for some of the stuff that nowadays seems fairly acceptable. Like
Mm.
I used to have a Zazzle store where I would sell Bionic Dance merch, and people gave me so much crap for doing it
Mm.
that now that everyone else is doing it, I'm almost like I don't want to start. I don't want to start because this is so there's so many bad memories associated with it. And so I'm always worried that if I respond to a video someone else has already done, that someone else is going to be like, oh, look at you just jumping on the bandwagon, trying to ride someone else's coattails. Meh, 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 meh. And so I usually I just don't do it. I admit I'm a little scared too. So
That is very interesting because yeah, what I've seen, because I've only been, uh, I guess I've been watching YouTube for maybe 7 or 8 years, and yeah, and so from what I remember, that always kind of seemed like the thing where people were like, hey, I just came out with a new T-shirt. Why don't you buy it? Or a mug, or bracelet, or something like that. And as I've always kind of seen that. So that's interesting. And the same goes for the videos. I mean, heck, Matt Powell is a good example. When he came out with his atheist drink soda and play video games all day video, that got like 4 or 5 responses. Same with Josh Fierstein. He was another example where everybody did a video about you know, his reason why you should believe in God. Everyone did that, and so that does seem kind of normal now. But it's strange that people gave you a hard time for that in the past.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. People on the internet have some of the strangest things that offend them, that make them grumpy. I mean, because okay, I don't know if you watch Telltale's videos, but he's been responding to those Caleb and Sophia animations, right? Where it's just these kids that are being taught lessons by their Jehovah's Witness parents, and like anything they do, like always comes back to this is the way Jehovah wants us to live, right? Now the dad has this really funky accent that nobody could identify, and I figured it out because I was going to respond to one of those videos. I'm an animator. I find it almost offensive that the
You told
craft
me
is
about
being
this at
used
Faithless
for this.
Forum.
Yeah, and I went looking for one of those videos. I did a search and found a whole bunch of them translated into Portuguese Sign Language. And I was like, huh. And I figured, well, the dad probably isn't Portuguese, but where else do they speak that? Oh, yeah, South America, like Brazil. And so I looked up a bunch of people speaking English who are from Brazil. They had the exact same accent. And then I found some Jehovah's Witnesses who actually know the voice actor. And they said, yeah, he's Brazilian. And I was like, dude, go me. I totally figured it out. So I posted on one of Telltale's videos that the dad is from Brazil. And I had someone go, no, he's not. He's French. And I was like, dude, here's all my evidence. Why should I be convinced that you're right and I'm wrong? And they said, well, you do realize the dad's fictional, right? He's not really Brazilian. I'm like, dude, was I ever talking about the character? I mean, the voice actor here. I'm saying that's what that accent is. And it's just crazy how grouchy the guy got about the fact that I figured out where he's from. And it's just like, how are people so grouchy on the internet? It's like when people are driving and they see someone cut them off or their blinkers on, and they get so much angrier with that person in the car than they ever would if they were face to face with them.
Oh yeah.
And many times I've said that it would be awesome if there was a way to just deck somebody online, because people would be so much more polite knowing that they could get slugged for being a dick.
Yeah. Carly Stir points out, I think it's the anonymity, and I do honestly think that is correct. When I arguing with people, arguing with little emoji faces in a in an angry tone is a lot easier than talking to someone and being like, hey, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't usually call people idiots during conversations, but although in Sylvester Williams's case, he was just an idiot, and I would tell him that to his face if I saw him again. But
well, and okay, I understand why people think this, but I've had people accuse me of screaming at them in text because I put like all caps for a word or two. But I only do that because Facebook does not give us the option for italics. And so I want to be able to emphasize something. And without italics, how else am I going to do it?
asterisks.
Right? That's one of the things I love about YouTube is if you surround a sentence with underscores, it will italicize it for you. If you surround it with asterisks, it'll boldface it for you. And I'm pretty sure minus signs, dashes will do a strike through. I haven't done that for a while. But honestly, if Facebook had the option for italics, I would never all caps something unless it absolutely needed it for some reason.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I
Oh,
do know.
and Steve, it does not work in Hangout chats. It's only comment sections. Sorry.
Sorry, dots. Yeah, I do like the asterisk because I use that a lot in conversations when I'm like, "This is something you said, not me. You made this comment."
Oh, that's what I do. If I'm quoting somebody, I will always do underscore asterisk underscore, just so it's bold and italics to let people know I'm not saying it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But oh well.
Mm,
That was funny. Yeah, I do remember you telling me that at the Faithless Forum at the I think it was the after party, which was also very fun,
yeah.
very neat. Uh, yeah, seen the people though, the YouTubers were like running around like chickens with their heads cut off because they were like, oh, we need you guys to do this before you go anywhere, and we got to do this, and they were just always so busy, and it was,
Yeah.
it was really cool to get to talk uh to them, when you could, but what's also cool is a bunch of us are staying at the same hotel, the one, which was funny.
Did okay, now I'm confused. I don't
Do I?
even remember saying Steve's last name.
I don't think you did. You just said Steve.
Yeah, I guess I must have if I did it right.
I didn't
Although
hear.
you'd be surprised how many people get my last name wrong. I'm like, what part of that looks like fair? Although I suppose there's Fahrenheit, which has happened to me. Like, you get those auto calls from like a doctor reminding you of your appointment or something. And even though my name is correct in whatever text they did, the computer voice honestly thinks it's an abbreviation for Fahrenheit. So I've been told seriously, like Kate Fahrenheit, your appointment is at, and I'm like, what the hell? My name is not Fahrenheit. I don't know.
That is pretty funny.
Mm.
Yeah, I've never
Also,
gotten.
Steve, there is no space between Bionic and Dance. Just saying. People
Yeah.
always get that wrong, and I get why, but seriously, it's one word with a capital letter in the middle of it. Even when it's not a hashtag or an at or whatever, it's one word. Always is, always will be.
Oh, someone I met. I totally forgot to mention. Also got to meet Ocean. He's a cool guy.
Mm.
And
It's funny. He used to not like me, but apparently he's come around on that.
well, there you go, making friends. Yeah, he seemed like a
Mm.
cool guy. And there was a. I didn't really get to talk to Cirrus, but he was there. I saw him. So
He's also a really nice guy.
yeah. I've been in hangouts with him on Modern Day Debate and also on uh oh, what's his? Is it Objectively Subjective now? I think is the name of his channel. Matt, I forget his
I know
name.
that name, but what Eric asks, well, Vice Rhino and Godless Cranium were not there, and I have to admit, I'm very curious what they look like off camera. I think I found a picture of Godless Cranium, and he does not look like what I pictured. But someone like Prophet of Zod, for example, was up on stage and on camera, and so you can probably find footage of what he really looks like. He answered a question that a lot of people were curious about, is how he makes his face like how he keys that out so he can have the static. And it turns out he has like an orange winter hat
That's
with
right.
some
Yeah.
eye holes poked in, and he just over his face. So yeah.
Yeah. I think he shows his face in one of his videos, and so I remembered from that what he looked like. And when I saw him, I was like, oh, there he is. But he also had the on his little card. It said Prophet of Zod, which I thought
Mm.
was a little humorous.
Well, and I always thought he was a lot younger than he is. A lot. Like I would have bet he's in college, but no, apparently not.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think he's in college anymore. But yeah.
Oh no,
Um,
apparently he's almost exactly my age. Of course, people misjudge my age a lot too. They don't realize I'm a lot older than I look. So,
I won't ask. But
oh, I love making people guess.
I'm no, no. I've been tricked into that too many times. Uh,
Okay,
Godless
well,
Island, yes, Maddie, yes. Thank you, spooky bed hair, yes. Uh,
I'm 43, just so you know.
all right. I don't know. You could be lying to me, and you're just like
Oh
waiting to get
no,
a reaction or something.
no, I'm 43. I was born at the very ass end of 75.
Okay, I'm not 43. You may have guessed.
Yeah.
Oh.
Hell, I
uh,
don't even know. Were you born yet when I graduated high school?
when did you graduate?
93.
Not quite.
Okay.
Still just a gleam in your father's eye. That was a, oh, what a horrible phrase. But anyways,
Mm.
um, yeah, Faithless Forum. It was great, and I recommend everyone go to it. I imagine it will be because like the first, it had more people this time than it did last time, from what I understand. So I
Mhm.
imagine next time it will have even more people. That is assuming we don't split the skeptic community right down the center. But
Well, what I'm really hoping is that next time, like this is the first convention I've been to where the hotel and the venue were not the same place, where it wasn't like a hotel that has a convention area. I'm
right,
hoping that changes for the next one.
okay, yeah, it was just like a Dallas is weird as crap. I'm in Shreveport, which is a little, it's a big little city. Dallas
Mm.
is monster. And so we had to get on the highway every time wanted to go somewhere, which I did not was not a fan of. So
I was raised in Vermont, and there's like one place that might be considered a city in that state. And so I kind of know what you're probably talking about when you say a big little city. Or did you say little big city? I don't remember.
it's a
But
big
point
city.
point being that when I moved to Seattle and then later to San Diego, I was like, oh, yes, civilization. But I totally know what it's like to have to get somewhere using the highway. I mean, a lot of things happen in the suburbs in San Diego, and you have to go to La Jolla all the time. And there is no way to get there without using the highway. So,
I mean, even the highways we have are very easy to travel.
mhm.
Um, very, very sparse cars. But going through Dallas, I was like, oh, people everywhere.
Well, also, people drive like maniacs in Dallas. I felt like I was in danger constantly every time I went somewhere.
Hmm, that's interesting. I guess they were. I was relatively all right. I guess I was more just like, oh, keep away.
Well, I mean, in San Diego, people drive like assholes, right? I mean, seriously, they have no respect for pedestrians, and it's just obnoxious as hell. But they're not scary. In
Hmm,
Dallas, they're scary. In Seattle, people don't really know how to drive because everyone's from somewhere else. They've all moved there to work for Microsoft or Boeing or Amazon. And so everyone's not sure if they should be polite or not. There's this apocryphal tale of people dying of old age at a four-way stop sign in Seattle because everyone's waving each other. No, you go. No, you go. In fact, because I'm fairly assertive when I'm either walking or driving or whatever, people are actually grateful in Seattle that someone took the initiative.
hmm, that's
It's
interesting.
just a thing. I don't know. It's weird.
That is very interesting. Yeah,
Driving in different places. I bet you there's a video that someone has done of what it's like to drive in different parts of this stupid country.
Shreveport, everyone is very polite. Everyone's like, "Yep, there's a spot for you. Go right ahead. You're good." Baton Rouge. Uh, Baton Rouge is okay. A lot of people. I kind of got used to that a little bit, but then moved back here and forgot about it. Going over the big, uh, gigantic bridge. Oh, not great. But I guess you're right. It would be kind of nice to
So I'm
uh
just waving bye to Eric.
yeah, but it would be kind of nice to have it at the same place so we don't really have to go anywhere. Uh
Mm.
yeah. It was
Well,
also nice
and
that the restaurants were right just across the street. You have to go anywhere.
yeah, some of those restaurants were pretty nice.
Watch.
The one where we had that big old after dinner thing was a little weird though. I'd never been to one of those. What was it? Some sort of weird pseudo Japanese place or something? I
Kona?
don't remember
You talking about
exactly.
Kona Grill?
Yeah, I'd never
Yeah,
been to one of those.
I yeah, I don't think I've been. Have I been to Kona Grill? I don't think so. It's kind of interesting because it was. I guess the closest I can think of it is like, do you have Ichiban where you are?
Okay, yeah, I've done that.
It kind of seemed like maybe a fancier Ichiban from what I
Mm.
could tell because it had sushi, and so you had the seating, but that's really the first sushi place came to mind. If anyone's gonna attack me in the comments, that's just the first one. But
And I don't drink a lot. I don't know. Like 2 years ago, my desire for alcohol just went away. But they had this one drink there that they just called the Kool-Aid for us because we were there. We had that established event, and it looked like a tall glass of Windex is what it looked like. But man, that would sneak up on you. Like I was drinking it, going, "Is there even booze in here?" And then like 15, 20 minutes later, I'm like, whoa, yes, there was. Crazy.
yeah, I don't drink at all. I can, by the way, before anyone makes that joke, I can drink. I just don't. And so, uh, but also I had to be DD. So there you go.
You have what?
Uh,
What now?
I had to be DD, designated driver. So
Oh. Okay, yeah.
also, I think if I made a comment to Thomas on Facebook afterwards, I don't know if he ever got it, but Savannah and I can definitely be chaperones next time or drivers or whatever. Because there was a whole lot of, do we ride with this person? Should we ride with this person? Are you guys going to the hotel? Are you going to the restaurant first? There's a whole lot of that going on. So next time we volunteer.
But there were a couple of penthouse parties at the American Atheists that I've gone to, those conventions. And I was at one of them where, man, it was weird because a bunch of people were just standing around chatting, but there was this like depressed part, like this lower part of the room that just looked like some, I think it was like hexagonal set of stairs or something. And a bunch of people were sitting there playing Magic the Gathering of all things. And I went to I was just chatting with people, and all of a sudden someone was like, "Oh crap, I gotta go! Quick, Kate, take my cards." And I sit down. It's like an entirely green deck. And the guy sitting to my right proceeds to royally kick my ass. It was like target acquired, right? Little do I realize that not only is that the keynote speaker, but it's, what was his name? Chris Cluey, the NFL kicker who'd been booted off his team for being an atheist.
Holy crap.
And apparently he's a complete nerd bag and kicked my ass at Magic the Gathering. That's one of my favorite convention stories.
That's pretty cool. This is
Yeah.
my only convention story. I hope to go to more. I was talking to PZ about going to Skepticon, which is that Missouri? Where is
I
that?
don't know. Is it held in the same place every year? Because the one I went to was indeed in Missouri.
I think that it is because that's what he was. I believe that's what he mentioned.
I
Which
actually
is
ended up on the airport shuttle with him, like going to the convention. I like look over. I'm like, hey, wait a minute, you're PZ Myers, aren't you? So
that's pretty cool. Yeah, Dallas is 3 hours from here, so we woke up that morning. We were like, all right, time to go. So off we went, and then we just drove back the next day. But I think if I remember correctly, Skepticon from here is like 7+ hours, something like that. Which I don't like driving the 4 hours to Baton Rouge. Driving 7 hours sounds like to me. But maybe I'm just a wimp. Sorry, people. I mean, I could. In PZ is awesome, but in Canada he is PZ. That is,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I'd like to go to that. Lots of people. I'd like to go to American Atheist and all sorts of these other things. I just either have school, or work or something, and so really it's predominantly school. School dominates everything, and so you can't really make it to most things.
Well, I actually did not make it to the last couple of American Atheists simply because of moolah, but now I should be able to afford it. So I will probably be at the next American Atheist convention.
Whoa.
Just saying.
There you go. What time of year are those?
It's oh gosh, what is it always held on? It's always held on a certain day. It's not Valentine's Day. What the hell is it? Oh, I don't remember. It's held on at the same time as some religious holiday or other. I cannot remember. Easter. I think it's Easter.
Okay.
Yeah. Always then.
Oh, Shelled Reptile said if you made an event for atheists, you'd get arrested in my country. I'm sorry to hear that.
What country is that?
What
I mean, I
country would
don't,
that be?
yeah. I mean, I can think of a lot of ones it might be, but
Hmm.
um,
Uh,
yeah.
what degree are you working on? Biology, organismal biology. So, hoping to get into hoping to get into zoology. He's in Egypt.
Egypt. Wowzers. Okay.
Yep.
I, I know next to nothing about Egypt beyond King Tut and the pyramids. So I honestly don't know, um, like why atheists would be so arrestable. But
Hmm.
yeah, I mean, hell, I don't even know. Is Egypt an Islamic country? Is it some other religion I don't know? I mean, what is it there? I
I
have
do.
no
Yeah,
idea.
it's very heavily Islamic.
Okay.
Yes. That'd be my BS. I should finish. The hope is 3 more semesters, and then I'll have my BS, and then I go on to get my MS, and then PhD. That's the hope, at least.
So bullshit, more shit, and piled higher, deeper.
You know what's funny is Kent Hovind of all people made that joke, and I about
Yeah.
died because he is the one person for the past 30 years who's been saying, "I'm a doctor," and then all
It's
of
in
a sudden
this.
he turned around and said, "Oh, BS, more the same, piled high and deeper." It's like you don't get to make that joke, sir. Sorry.
Well, isn't his college like a trailer out in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
a double wide.
And when I see BSC up there that Vesta said, I'm like, all I can think of is Red Dwarf when Rimmer had BSc, SSC, and it was bronze swimming certificate and silver swimming certificate. I'm just like, yeah. That's really all I can see when I see that.
Messenger reveals, "Hello, still looking forward to an in-depth conversation." The messenger
Oh,
reveals,
I'm not even sure. Like, I don't think we
"Do I know
had
you?"
an established conversation topic beyond American atheists and whatever the hell else we like. So,
I'm sorry. Wait. The messenger. An in-depth conversation on what?
yeah.
I'm terribly forgetful. I'm sorry. Honestly, I could. Someone could email me something yesterday, and I've already forgotten about it. And
I
yeah,
mean, if
I'm.
there's a topic you want us to discuss, I'm happy to
Oh,
consider it.
sure. Yeah.
But I mean, as far as I knew, it was just, hey, let's chat. So,
Yeah, that's what this was. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, uh, toss them in there.
yeah.
We'll
Although
try
not the
to
one
answer.
about where babies come from, you should know that already.
I actually have a whole video on that.
Do
Uh,
you?
yeah. I had just had a spat with my one and only spat with what is his name? Uh, True Empiricism, Ronnie, and he was annoying as crap. But regardless, I'm not going to go into all that. So I did a video where it's something about teaching him and G-Man about reproduction, and so I go through in basic terms how that works. Of course, skipping all the fun details. Uh, just really get to the biology. You forgot me. We spoke about a month ago. Oh no, I did. I didn't forget you. I'm not familiar with all of the names. I remember the conversation. You're the creationist who was talking about. You're the creationist who talked about intelligent design, right? That was you, wasn't it? I believe. Oh, it's Beach. Hello, Beach, and also
Uh,
hello
to,
to everyone.
to
All babies,
answer Hosea Henson, I'm not sure I know any adults, so I can't tell you.
all babies come from the West. They just roll off the trains. That's a fair point. There you go. Um, actually, oh, and about the Kent Hovind thing because it still drives me nuts. I actually watched a video. He was in a debate with Massimo Pigliucci, who's an evolutionary biologist, and the moderator of the debate called Pigliucci Dr. Pigliucci but called Hovind Mr. Kent Hovind, and Hovind got upset about that and said, if you're going to call him doctor, call me also doctor. And then recently in his whole thing with Aaron, he said, I don't put doctor on my stuff. That's my editor guy. And so I don't know what goes on in his head, but I that sort of stuff just like drove me insane. I could never be a creationist because that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
I would have a very difficult time. I know too much to be a creationist.
Yeah, RJ and I are, in case I don't know if you know, RJ and I are reading all four of the Answers in Genesis books.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, we're reading all four of them and doing a response to all of their chapters involving biology, paleontology, and geology. And that's going to be a book that we're going to
So,
publish.
well, I think the one thing that really drives me nuts when it comes to creationist arguments is when they try to conflate abiogenesis and evolution. Because even if like all animals in the world were poofed into existence, evolution could still happen with them, right? But they seem to think, oh, Darwinian evolution says that life came from non-life. I'm like, no, it fucking doesn't. Oh, that makes me want to cut a bitch. I'm just saying.
Okay, I guess I was wrong about the messenger. Well, maybe he's not the creationist I was talking to. He says he's a person with a BS in psych and MS and mental health counseling. You asked me some questions regarding my view on human origins and my unique beliefs in creation. Please put those in the chat because I'm terribly forgetful. Can you please remind me what those were because I'm very intrigued. Again, sorry I forgot. I'm terrible. But I'm a horrible person. I'm sorry. Self-flattery. At any rate, but yeah, yeah. The creationism is a joke. It's just all a really bad joke that's gone on for far too long. And I think most of the major people who work for creationist organizations know that what they're saying is wrong. They're not doing it for money necessarily, even though that's a great side effect. They're doing it because they want to believe what they're saying is true. They want people, because they believe if you believe in evolution, you can't be a Christian. You reject the Bible automatically, all that crap. So you have to believe in creationism. That is the only way to take the Bible. And so I think that is what they believe. That's
Yeah.
my hypothesis. I think a bunch of people agree with me on that. But that's
Well, I also like I've heard stories of preachers who are like, I know this is bullcrap. I know it is, but I don't know how to stop. I'm too invested. Changing like my life course right now would be too much work. And so they just go along to get along, that it's all they've ever known, and it would be just too painful to change it. And I'm like, that is sad. I mean, I don't mean sad like I mean like that's literally tragic.
depressing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that. And I mean that's why we have the what is it, the preacher project. I can't remember the name of it, where there's like some of the preachers are still preaching at their churches. This is kind of their outlet, but they know what they're saying is wrong, but it's too ingrained, or this literally is their life. They have no out, things like that. Again, yeah, it's tragic. I can't remember the name of that project now. It has an actual name. It's not the Preacher Project. um, my foundation for believing in the Bible or the messenger. My foundation for believing in the. Wait a second. No, I do remember you. We were on Dragnot's stream. You're the bald guy. That's who, right? Yes, you talked about your PTSD thing. Yes, I do remember you. I'm sorry. I I'm not familiar with your YouTube Clergy Project. There we go. I'm not familiar with your YouTube stuff. That was literally my first interaction with you. I I don't know. His whole thing is he has a he claims to have a way to deal with PTSD, which is novel and very useful and all this. I don't really know anything about psychology, really. So I don't know. Maybe he's right. I don't know. Uh, but he and Dragnaut were having a whole beef about this thing. So again, yeah, nice to meet you again. Yes, very bald. Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a distinguishing feature. I remember you were eating like a taco or something. We were having a
Yeah,
taco.
I admit I don't know a lot about PTSD. The closest I can come is that some of my exes were so psycho that I'm terrified of dating ever again.
We are not talking about. Well, I didn't say it was a cure. It's not a cure. It's a way of dealing with it, wasn't it? It was like a treatment. Um, Maybe treatment's a bad word. It was a way of helping people.
Cope.
Yeah, cope. There you go. Cope with it, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong, but I think I remember that part. Uh, like I said, I'm not a psychology person. I don't really know much of psychology, much of anything about psychology. I think evolutionary psychology is vaguely interesting, but probably wrong in some ways. But uh, oh well. If any, does anyone else have any questions? Because I feel like I'm rambling at this point.
Yeah, I've kind of run dry on stuff to talk about. I mean, I have a few things that I could bring up that have nothing to do with
Sure.
anything we've ever. Well, I mean, because I'm having an argument with a couple of people on Facebook right now about the line between sci-fi and fantasy. That's one of the things that's going on right now. Don't even get me started. But really, I have nothing about like atheism or anything else to really talk about. So I mean. I could go on for quite a while about some of my favorite VR games. I could, I don't know, talk about how awesome the Orville is. I don't know. I mean, it depends on what anyone's curious about.
Huh. Though I've seen a little bit of the Orville.
Oh, I
That is
love it to
interesting.
death. It is
Uh,
such a great show. And it's
okay.
just been renewed for season 3. So rock on.
That's
Actually,
right.
you know what's kind of funny, and I've mentioned this in streams before. Uh, I live like a 2-hour drive from LA. And one thing I've thought very seriously about trying to do is to be an extra in absolutely everything. Like, I don't want to be a movie star or anything, but if there's those people in the background of the sitcom having a chat in the coffee shop, I want to be one of those people. I want to be the person on the spaceship who's like in a uniform walking back to the camera down the hallway as the stars actually do their shit.
Mhm.
I would love to do just nothing but extra work, and I have a friend who might be able to put me on the course to make that happen, which would be so awesome. And since the Orville's been renewed for season 3, dude, that would be the dream to be an extra on the Orville. I would love that so much. So yeah, and Vesta, that just sounds horrible. Orville is the STD we should have gotten. I know you mean
I just
I
saw
know you
that.
mean Star Trek Discovery, but it's still every time I see that acronym, I laugh. I'm sorry, I just do.
That's yeah.
So yeah, no, I love the Orville to death. Such a great show.
I I mean I'm a big fan of Family Guy. I like Seth MacFarlane stuff in general.
Well,
His
that's
movies are all right, but I really do. I I like the Family Guy and stuff
Well, I
like
mean,
that.
that's the thing is the Orville did start out as clearly a comedy, a parody, a farce, a satire, whatever you want to call it, where the humor, there was definitely some potty humor in it and all of that. But in the last season, it has gotten serious. I mean, it starts to feel more and more like Star Trek with the occasional joke thrown in, as
Hmm.
opposed to the sort of goofy, almost Galaxy Quest esque thing it started as. And to be honest, I like that. I like that a lot because, as was pointed out, Star Trek Discovery is ass, and I don't like it. And the Orville is more Star Trek than Star Trek right now. It feels like watching the next generation. It feels like watching that era of Star Trek, just with some humor injected. My only wish is that they would boldly go a little more, because most of the stories recently have been about like just the characters, character drama. And while that's great that they're really giving the characters their own identities and their own life, some of the things they did in the first season were, here's an alien planet, here's somewhere we've never been before, let's go exploring. And I'd love to see a little more of that on the Orville. But otherwise, such a great show. And I love what they're doing with the Kalon conflict right now. So yeah. And yeah, Yafit's really fun.
Yeah, it's pretty
One thing, I mean, talking about the Kalon, I thought that the romance between Isaac and Dr. Finn was so amazingly cool. I mean, because the way they handled, here's an emotionless robot, and yet here's how he can actually be in a romantic relationship without changing himself too much, was amazing. And the fact that he doesn't have that stupid desire to be human that Data always had on Next Gen, and yet they still make him into a personality that you can really like grow attached to. It's some of the most amazing sci-fi writing I've seen in a long time, and yet it's on a comedy show. It's such a great balance. So yeah.
I've only seen one episode of it when the lady, the commander, like her past self came to the present.
Oh, that's sort of a like a two-parter that ended the season. So
yeah,
yeah.
I was like, I kind of want to see the next episode now because she changed the past and all that. But at any rate, yeah, it seems very interesting. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was Bobby.
No,
I was watching that show, but
I burned out pretty hard on superhero stuff. They oversaturated the market. So unless it's Deadpool or The Incredibles, I'm not down. I'm sorry, I'm just not.
Oh man, Endgame was fantastic. Not gonna do any spoilers here, but it's a fantastic movie. Guys, go check it out.
Spoiler alert, it turns out that Thanos' father is really Darth Vader. Anyway. Sorry, I've been doing that with Game of Thrones too, just because so many of my friends on Facebook are psycho for Marvel and Game of Thrones, and I'm just like, oh, let's tweak these people a little. And don't get me wrong, I've enjoyed what I've seen of Game of Thrones, but because HBO insists that if I want to watch it online, I have to buy an extra add-on to like Hulu or Amazon Prime. And I'm like, dude, I'm already paying for your streaming service. I'm not paying extra for HBO and Showtime and whatever the hell else there is. I'm sorry, either give me Game of Thrones just straight up streaming on what I've already bought, or screw it, I'm not watching it.
Right. Yeah. I don't really watch any TV, so I mean, I watch everything on a. So say I don't watch movies. I watch movies, but I do it online. I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the same for me. Is like I have all these streaming services. My TV is only hooked up to a Blu-ray player. I have missed out on a lot of television, I'm sure. Unless it's streaming, I just don't see it.
Yeah. Also, because people in the chat were talking about the new theropod, the new avian theropod, Alcmenavis. I found the paper for it. I guess I can put it in the side chat because I am moderator. I am the one and only. I'm just kidding. I'm not. But there you go. There it is in the side chat. Here, let me see if I can screen share just for a second because I just want to show you guys the. Oh, in the regress. Okay. Here you go, folks. This is the paper on Alcmenavis. It was found in the same strata as Archaeopteryx, which is the Solnofin formation. If I remember correctly, I believe I do. And so it is just slightly more derived than Archaeopteryx. So that's pretty cool. There was a whole radiation of very bird-like theropods at the end of the Jurassic, and so this was part of that. So not terribly surprising, but very interesting.
You know, I find it kind of amusing the way that we classify animals, the taxonomy, based on their feet.
Yeah, Yeah, feet are pretty important. You walk around on them. You know?
Yeah. I just think it's funny. Every time someone says fill in the blank pod, I'm like, yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, I get it, but it still makes me giggle a little.
Uh, you're welcome. Yeah. Well, tracks tell us a whole lot about organism. I did not do a video on tracks. I think I mentioned I should do a video on tracks at one point. I did a video on fossil poo though, so there's that one. Coprolites, yeah, those are great. Who doesn't love coprolites? It's kind of a crappy subject though.
Yeah, I see what you did there. Yeah. Oh man, I should totally have this widget up on my phone so I can.
That,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, lots of weird little things make tracks. Sometimes tracks throw a whole lot of what we know into disarray. The tetrapod tracks from Poland put a new spin on what we thought about tetrapod evolution because it turns out tetrapods actually around a lot early. The the evolution of tetrapods from the earlier fish occurred earlier. It still probably went through the same phylogenetic steps, but this was happening further back in the past than we originally thought. We thought it was like late Devonian. Turns out it's probably more mid Devonian. So
I did think, like, okay, as much as The Phantom Menace is a much derided movie, I did think it was interesting the way Sebulba basically walked on his hands and used his feet as hands. I thought that was an interesting take on it. And in my very, very short lived webcomic, I did have a character who could basically switch between like biped and quadruped was the thing. Like he could totally stand up and go running on his hind legs, but he actually preferred traveling on all fours, kind of thing.
yeah, yeah, facultative bipedality. Yeah, aliens are neat. I think
Yeah.
so many aliens in movies are. Oh look, it's a human.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah. And I mean, I understand why they do that in TV shows because, like,
Budget, yeah,
yeah, but movies don't have a lot of excuse. Not anymore.
yeah. I mean, yeah. There's so much we can do with like CGI now, but I think they also want you to be attached to the characters. I think
Mm.
Thanos, even though he's just a big purple humanoid, and he's supposed to just be evil, I really appreciate the way the Infinity War makes you actually feel like, well, crap, maybe he's right about some of the
I'll
stuff
just
he
have
said.
to go ahead and take your word for that.
Oh, that's right. We got a no.
Well,
No,
I
it's
mean, okay, granted, I did watch both of the Guardians of the Galaxy movies, and I had no idea who the hell Thanos was, right, when I was watching them. So I was a little lost. I didn't realize they were actually part of the Marvel universe. I thought, hey, cool, just another like good space opera flick. So I missed out on a lot of the backstory.
yeah, because now they're all together. Well, they were together in Infinity War and all that jazz. Yeah, but all the little storylines cross together now. It's no longer just the one off. Here's a movie about Captain America, which was terrible,
Mm.
or the Fantastic Four just kind of off by themselves, which also had Chris Evans, by the way, Captain America in it.
And I realize this isn't Marvel, but I had such high hopes for the Wonder Woman movie, and boy, was that garbage.
What?
No, seriously. Well, okay, let's put it this way. They tried to hide who the bad guy was. And I was like, oh yeah, it's totally him. Right? Like I saw through that so fast. And so the rest of the movie was just me waiting for them to get on with it. And I don't know. I was so bored. I was really, really bored.
I thought it was the first good DC movie since the Batman trilogy. Uh,
Okay, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed those Batman movies, but I'm really not a fan of Batman, especially not the way he's portrayed these days, where he's
no,
so dark. Like, I mean, okay, to be fair, I kind of grew up a little bit on reruns of the Adam West series.
Adam
So
West.
I was always just used to Batman as a superhero who dressed like a bat, right?
Yeah.
But now he's got the whole I'm Batman thing going on. And it's like, dude, you're a little too full of yourself. I don't know.
I agree. Well, at any rate, yeah, there you go. The messenger reveal says they say there's a fine line between genius and psychosis, including those who empathize with Thanos. I kind of agree with him myself. I feel like his whole plan was cut life in half, and so the half that survives will do better. It's like they're just gonna get back to the point where they're starving again. It's life. Why don't you just create infinite resource? I don't know. It seems like that could have made things a lot easier, but at any rate, someone else grew up with the original Adam West.
Yeah.
But you probably want to go at this point.
I am hungry. It's past noon and I barely even ate breakfast. So,
you're going to dine on some creationist brains.
I'm sure that's exactly. Well, actually, no. As an atheist, I am going to eat babies. That's what atheists do. We eat babies.
They do eat babies. Can't argue with that. Didn't someone find the origin of that trope? I think someone was talking about that. Or it's biblical, isn't it?
I don't know. I could not get all the way through the Bible. I tried. I really tried. I got halfway through 2 Kings and said, screw this crap. So.
Yeah, we're going to spend 1,000 pages talking about the history of a part of the ancient Roman Empire for some reason. Part of the Roman Empire, we're going to talk about, the Middle East. We're going to talk about this one little section of the Middle East. It's like, oh, this is all relevant to how the universe works and where we go when we die. What?
Well, I mean, I was, like I said, I got up to halfway through 2 Kings and I felt like I was reading the worst fantasy novel ever. It seemed to have very little to do with like God or morality or any of this stuff. It was like, okay, so this guy wandered through the desert for this long and then these people tried to kill him. And then these people went over here and they almost starved. And then these people went over here and they did this stuff that has nothing to do with anything and blah, 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 blah. It felt like a directionless fantasy series on television, where it's like we have no real place where the plot is going to go and it's all loosely tied together, but we really don't know what we're doing. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, I mean, it's, dang, I made these people. They didn't worship me. I'm going to kill them all. They're back together again. I'm going to scatter them again.
And I mean, some of it is just so freaking random too. It's like, and then God smote them in this really crazy way. Like, I actually did a video where I was like, how the hell did they ever come up with the pillar of salt thing for curiosity? And apparently there are like big old pillars of salt all over certain parts of that part of the world. And they're formed for various perfectly reasonable scientific reasons that I totally forget at the moment. And so they were probably putting that into the biblical story because those things existed, and that's probably the origin of the pillar of salt. But if you don't have that context, it just seems so freaking random. Like, okay, if you're going to punish somebody for being curious, which is stupid right on its face, like just going, okay, you're now a table condiment for no good reason. And it's like, okay. Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, that's, I would love, one of the things I love is listening to videos about the context of the Bible. Not even really so much there were a lot of preachers who claimed to have revelation at this time, and Jesus happened to be one of them, and all this. It's like, okay, that part's interesting, but okay, I'm more interested in the roots, the religious, socio-political roots of creationism of like, this is a Genesis story, this is the flood story, which we now have tied down, both of those. It's like, okay, this is a very common belief in the Middle East at that time. Okay. Shared by other people predating these guys and all that, but it's all very fascinating. Digital Hammurabi does. Yeah, there you go. Digital Hammurabi. They do some of that stuff. They're awesome. Check them out. There you go. Boosting for them also now.
Yeah.
At any rate. Okay. So, anyways, well, thank you for coming on.
Sure.
It was
Had
great
fun.
to have.
Thanks for asking.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you had fun. I had fun at the very least, even if you didn't.
Well, I did. I'm telling you, I did. Are you arguing with me? I had fun.
You better. So, and thanks everyone for showing up and listening to us talk about movies and atheism and faithless forum and all sorts of things. And go check out Kate's channel. She does some awesome stuff. Bionic Dance. Go check that out. So, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Have fun.